Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me over the phone Dr. Hassan Wagih, the Professor of Political Science at Al-Azhar University. Dr. Hassan, thank you very much for being with us tonight on Nile TV International and the Daily Debate.
Thank you. Delighted to be with you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Hassan, how did you see the speech of the Grand Imam Sheikh Ahmad Al-Tayyib, Sheikh of Al-Azhar, at the Vatican for today?
Yeah, actually it is a continuation of the effort exerted by the Grand Imam to give dialogue the right push in the right direction to establish peace and to deal with the roots of conflict in a very lucid and very consistent way. So I think this is a very good continuation of the mission conducted by the Grand Imam and by Al-Azhar itself.
Yes, Dr. Hassan, and dissecting the speech of the Grand Imam Sheikh Ahmad Al-Tayyib at the Vatican for today, he mentioned that it was utterly important to be recognizing the state of Palestine, as we did see over the past month, maybe at the meetings of the United Nations Security Council and then at the Peace Summit held in Sharm el-Sheikh under the chairmanship of both Presidents Sisi and Trump. How do you see the importance of recognizing the state of Palestine, according to the statements of Sheikh of Al-Azhar today at the Vatican, to be highlighting such an important decision by a number of big countries, including Canada, Portugal, the United Kingdom, and several other countries such as France?
Yes, of course, this is a very important meeting, a very timely meeting, because it is a continuation of the efforts, and there is a wake-up call, strong wake-up call in the international community to give the Palestinians their legitimate humanitarian rights. And I think to handle the roots of the conflict is to establish a two-state solution, as indicated in the UN resolution and as what happened in the General Security Council, as what happened in Sharm el-Sheikh, the historic visit of distinguished leaders all over the world with Donald Trump himself. I think this should be a continuation in the right direction, and a continuation of this wake-up call for the international community to require the pressure to implement the two-state solution. And by the way, when we are having all this gathering of distinguished people, yes, we have to go for more intercultural and more interfaith dialogues, especially to resist the fanatics, to resist the extremists all over the world from all different religious affiliation. When we heard that Israel is calling for greater Israel occupying other Arab states, I think under the pretext of prophecies and religious prophecies will never consent. These religions are talking about peace, stability, are talking about justice, are not talking about aggression, doing genocidal wars. I think there should be, collective will to make a stop on this fanatic behavior, which disfigures the sublime mission of all religions.
Yes, and speaking of religions, Dr. Hassan Wagih, as you mentioned, one of the main topics tackled within the speech of Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Ahmad Al-Tayyib, at the Vatican for today was the importance of the freedom of will for religions and genders as well. How do you see the importance of those statements coming from one of the biggest Islamic institutions in the world, if not the biggest?
Actually, this is very good reflection of the core values of Islam. And the core values of Islam are very compatible with fairness, with gender equality, with establishing peace and stability for everyone. The Holy Quran mentioned the word, "O you people," addressing the entire world community. And I think what the Grand Imam has included in his speech is great, because it is very humane and very humanistic, and it should be supported by all religious affiliations.
Yes, Dr. Hassan Wagih, the Professor of Political Science at Al-Azhar University. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate. And this brings us to the end of the episode for tonight. However, I will be leaving you with the presidential activities of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi that took place over the past week, all wrapped up in the upcoming report. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi delivered a televised address on the convention of the 5th edition of the Aswan Forum for Sustainable Peace and Development, titled A World in Flux, a Continent in Motion, Navigating Africa's Progress Amid Global Shifts. President al-Sisi, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, attends the 42nd Cultural Symposium organized by the Armed Forces, marking the 52nd anniversary of the glorious October War victory held at El Manara International Conference Center. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi receives a phone call from Jonas Gahr Store, the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Norway. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi meets with Dr. Osama al-Azhari, the Minister of Religious Endowments of Egypt. President al-Sisi receives a phone call from Lee Jae-myung, the President of South Korea. President al-Sisi arrives at the military airport of Brussels at the start of His Excellency's visit to the Kingdom of Belgium to participate in the first EU-Egypt summit. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi receives Kaja Kallas, the European Union High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy and Vice President of the European Commission, at His Excellency's residence in the Belgian capital, Brussels. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi participates in the economic event affiliated to the first EU-Egypt summit in the Belgian capital of Brussels, in the presence of Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi takes part in the first EU-Egypt summit held at the headquarters of the European Council in the Belgian capital, Brussels. President al-Sisi convenes with Roberta Metsola, the President of the European Parliament, within the framework of His Excellency's visit to the Belgian capital, to participate in the first EU-Egypt summit. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi meets with His Majesty King Philippe of Belgium at the Royal Palace in Brussels, in the attendance of Dr. Badr Abdel Ati, Egypt's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Egyptian expatriates. President al-Sisi follows up on the ongoing preparations for the organization of the grand celebration to be held for the inauguration of the Grand Egyptian Museum. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi receives at Al-Ittihadiyya Palace Field Marshal Syed Asim Munir, Chief of the Army Staff of the Pakistan Army. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi attended the Grand National Celebration held under the title Homeland of Peace at the Arts and Culture City in the new administrative capital as part of the 52nd anniversary of the glorious October 6 victories.